My name is Brianna Ivy, and I'm a Physics 2 student here at Georgia Tech. And on October 25th, I visited Seth Shostak's public lecture about finding life in space. He opened his public lecture with talking about things in the past that have been used to indicate finding life on different planets, things like finding bacteria. He talked about finding methane on Mars, and of course, the number one indicator of life on the planet will be water, finding water. So he talked about those things, and he also talked about the different telescopes that are used to search for life in space, and how in the past we've been using the Allen Telescope Array, and that we're getting ready to move into using the James Webb Telescope. And I did some outside research on the James Webb Telescope to figure out what the differences would be. And the James Webb Telescope will have higher resolution and sensitivity, and it will have infrared capabilities. And the importance of the infrared capabilities on the new telescope would be to be able to peel back time, in a sense, to figure out where the first stars and galaxies were, which would help give more information on what happened after the Big Bang and how we progressed over time and how the space has changed. So having that information can help us look for life in space and compare what we had then to what we have now to gain more information. And the new telescope will also be able to see through certain obstacles like dust, things that the Allen Telescope Array can't do now. So those will be helpful when continuing the search for life in space. And that telescope will launch in 2021. He also talked about the Frank Drake experiment, which was my first time learning about it, which was the first modern search for extraterrestrial intelligence. And it was conducted by sending radio waves from Earth to space to try to locate locate extraterrestrial life and intelligence. He also talked about what we expect ET to be versus what it may turn out to be. And so usually when ET is brought up, the common consensus is that ET will be like an alien or like a human but more advanced, like a human but with a larger brain. And he mentioned that we think that it will be a more advanced version of a human. But he talked about how biology is complex and it takes a long time to evolve or improve. And so instead of ET being carbon based or being a being of some sort, he felt like it would be technology. So he said that ET could possibly be technology instead of biology, which would change the way that we need to search for ET. Because he mentioned that instead of looking for where biology would be, we should search for where learning machine will be interested in, or thinking machine will be interested in. And I thought that was interesting because usually people don't think of ET as technology, and changing our perspective on what ET could be, even if it's not technology and it does end up being a being of some sort, changing our perspective to help us look in different places and look in different ways, which may help us find something in a place that we wouldn't normally look if we were looking for biology instead of technology. So I thought that was a very interesting spin on how we should approach the idea of extraterrestrial intelligence. He also, at the very end of the lecture, talked about stars generating a signal to help us find extraterrestrial intelligence, which is something that I would have to do more research on because I didn't quite grasp how how that concept would be applied. So, but overall, I think the public lecture was very informative, and it taught me a lot of things about searching for extraterrestrial intelligence that I hadn't thought about before, like different telescopes and how they're used and what they're used for, or just even the idea of ET not being an alien. So I really enjoyed the public lecture, and it taught me a lot.